I think that's one of my biggest goals as a mother, is knowing that my children have a relationship with God. It's kind of what's getting me through everything and stuff like that. So I think this is good. I think it's good.
Robin's deep talk about God, totally staged. Here's why that whole church storyline is just smoke and mirrors. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. This entire scene was pure staged nonsense. It's obvious Robin coached those girls beforehand to deliver this manufactured storyline, all just so she could drop the gem. One of my biggest goals as a mother is to make sure all my kids have a good relationship with God. Because if she really cared about church, she'd have found one in Vegas or Flagstaff by now. Instead, we're supposed to believe she suddenly misses attending a church her husband and the rest of the family have completely rejected. What a load of. The kicker? She says, as a mom, my biggest goal is making sure my kids know God, but does absolutely nothing over the last decade or more to foster that relationship. No kindness, authenticity, honesty, or generosity. Just empty words. Robin's a master of disingenuous manipulation, and her daughters? Brianna especially is a certified bully. These people can't even pretend to be kind within their own family. This whole act was just a show for the cameras. Aurora and Brianna have busy lives outside the house, friends, college, you name it. Yet here they are, begging for permission to date and to shop around for a church like they're still teenagers. It's beyond embarrassing, and it plays like a bad Flowers in the Attic reboot. Grown women needing mommy's blessing for everything, including choosing which church to attend. Seriously, Robin and Kody clearly know how they're perceived and are desperately trying to rewrite their public image. Every scene this season feels painfully fake and self-produced, like they're on some bizarre redemption tour, starring Soap & Brown Supermom. Meanwhile, Kody's just taking the heat to keep her narrative afloat. But come on, we've seen 13 years of who Robin really is. This Mother of the Year act isn't fooling anyone. The preview for next week looks even more nauseating and scripted. Watching 20-somethings plead for permission to have friends and date on national TV is just sad and borderline controlling. And let's not forget the irony. Robin constantly preaches faith and piety, yet the family hasn't attended a legitimate church in over a decade. Arizona has the largest Mormon population outside Utah, so there's no excuse. If church were really important, they'd be there, or at least holding a home service like before. But nope, they conveniently stopped when Kody lost interest, and no one ever talks about it again. It's all a facade. Robin's words and actions have never matched, and these staged, deep conversations are just more proof she's more concerned about looking pious than actually living it. The girls look miserable, awkward, and stunted, trapped in a weird bubble of control and scripted sorrow that reeks of desperation. Also, can we talk about their fashion? The girls dress like they raided their grandma's closet. Who wears those dated floral blouses to college? Aurora and Brianna copying their mom's style just adds to the tragic vibe. And the house. It feels like living inside a coffee cup full of brown sludge. Depressing doesn't even begin to cover it. At the end of the day, this family has been filming most of their lives, yet Robin's kids feel like strangers on camera because they've been kept so tightly under wraps. Now, with no one else willing to be filmed, they have to manufacture content, which ends up looking forced, awkward, and just plain sad. The whole episode, a total yawn fest full of staged emotion, fake smiles, and forced conversations. Nobody wants to watch people looking miserable all the time. It's exhausting and, frankly, embarrassing. They say Kody had a favorite wife before Robin, but the real story is way darker. And it's not who you think. If you thought it was Christine, you're not alone. But after looking closer, it seems Kody never really had a real favorite, except maybe himself. Yup, the true favorite was Kody. Him, his glorious hair, his mysterious pecs, whatever those are, and his infamous six-pack flabs. Flabs? Probably. He's still #1 in his own book, forever and always. As for the wives, let's be honest. Kody was fond of them all just enough to keep things going, but ultimately they were all means to an end. No real favorites, just whoever made his life easiest that week. The wife who catered to his every whim, or, better yet, didn't hold him accountable. That was the queen of the moment. So yeah, Mary often filled that role. He used his affection as a weapon to punish and control, making everything about him. And of course, his hair. Janelle had a different dynamic, more like friends with benefits, venting about the other wives frequently. Mary? He made her feel like they had a secret alliance, probably to use her as his spy. Christine? She was the complainer, the one he found annoying early on. Her complaints were legitimate, but Kody never really wanted to learn how to be a polygamous husband, especially after certain tensions arose. Hanging out at Mary's place was his escape. Fewer kids, nicer shower, and a chance to dodge other husband duties. Speaking of showers, Kody reportedly took 2.5-hour showers at Mary's place. What does one do in a shower that long? Scrub off layers of skin. The water bill must have been ridiculous, especially in drought-prone Utah. Back to favorites. Kody once called Mary his soulmate in his book, but her infertility seemed to push her down the pecking order. Everyone had their moments. Mary for calm and order, Janelle for income and companionship, Christine for her bubbly personality, at least early on, though Kody seemed to enjoy keeping her feeling small. Remember the Christmas story. Kody gave everyone presents except Mary. Even Christine called him out. That's not how you treat a favorite, more like a deliberate slight. And Robin, the basement wife, always competitive, trying to hold her place amid the chaos. Overall, Kody's favorite shifted depending on who pleased him most, or who was easiest to control. The wives competed for scraps of his attention, never realizing the game was rigged. Everyone thinks Tony and Mykelti are just annoying. But here's the ugly truth about why their drama actually runs deeper than you realize. Tony and Mykelti. Oh, I literally can't stand them. She's clearly on a mission to either tick off Maddie, get under Christine's skin, or both. Just seeing those two together makes me want to scream. And honestly, they're both total idiots. I don't get what she sees in him at all. Also, why didn't Kody step in and stop this hot mess sooner? Mykelti is basically every annoying thing I dislike about Christine and Kody rolled into one person. Somehow, she snagged the perfect match for herself, Tony. Facts. They really are a match made in chaos. I'm happy for them, I guess, but I can't stand either one of them. Yes, this is my hill to die on. Here's my take. Mykelti is a classic black sheep middle child, which means two things. She was bullied by her siblings and now tries way too hard to people please, which just comes off cringy and annoying. She probably saw Tony as the first person who'd actually stand up for her. I don't like either of them, but I'll give it this. They do click. There's a lid for every pot, right? Except in this case, it's more like a plastic container missing its lid. And the only option is a mismatched, leaky cover that's gonna make a mess, but you're stuck because it's an emergency. Both of them are lazy and immature, and honestly, I'm curious how they'll support their family once no one cares about their content anymore. Remember when Mykelti was all about being independent and wanted to be a world-famous fashion designer? Womp womp. Maddie wanted to be a lawyer/public defender. Whoop wah. Then there was the Boston trip episode, touring Harvard and debating who should go, so unrealistic it hurts. The whole family seems to dream big and never follow through. Robin thought she was some jewelry designer genius. Spoiler alert. Nope. I wanted to be a physical therapist at 18 hectares. Ended up in marketing. Let's not be too harsh on teenage dreams, but honestly, Tony and Mykelti are like the ultimate mismatched Tupperware set. They'll make a mess, but hey, they're stuck with each other. And apparently, they love hogging the spotlight no matter how obnoxious or inappropriate they have to be to get it. Someone please tell them to knock it off. Maybe David. One can only hope. Tony? I hate that guy almost as much as Robin. He's controlling, constantly talking over my Kody, acting like he's the star of her life story, not to mention a total misogynist. Watching my Kody around him, she turns into a completely different person, like she's forced to let him run the show whether she likes it or not. It's painful. Their dynamic screams little woman and controlling man, which is just gross to watch. Remember the wedding planning? Tony straight up acted like a selfish jerk, demanding the best chair for himself and making my Kody move. Awful vibes. Plus, clips show him always cutting her off, acting like this is how we remember it, as if he owns her narrative. Not to mention banning beer and arguing over tacos at the wedding. Seriously, the guy's Mormon, but come on. My Kody claims she was the scapegoat kid, which I get, and I have some empathy for her. But holy moly, she's exhausting to watch. She's all bottled up aggression masked by jokes and attention seeking. And that Patreon/YouTube channel, as long as people pay, she's not going anywhere. Honestly, they both scream lazy, entitled, and totally unprepared for real life. Yet somehow, they've monetized their chaos. Tony is even a professional chess player. Annoying, sure, but not exactly stupid. Still, watching them is like witnessing a train wreck you can't look away from, even though you want to. I skip their scenes whenever I can. My Kody and Maddie both just cling to this show and their MLMs, milking whatever fame they can. Maddie acts like she's superior, but never finishes anything, just like Janelle's kids. And yes, my Kody's middle child status is debatable, but whether she is or isn't, she definitely acts like a classic attention seeker. Anyway, their wedding was painful to watch. They want to be adults but act like spoiled brats. Kody and Christine had saint-level patience with them. Honestly, my Kody settling for Tony is like lowering the bar from on the rack to on the floor. Lazy, rude, self-centered, it's all there. That taco fiasco was just the cherry on top. So yeah, I don't get why they're still around, but I'll keep watching. Because let's be real, this mess is entertaining in the worst way. Ever wonder what happens when jealousy meets polygamy in church? Let's talk about why Kody can't stand the idea of Robin going solo. Kody is worried sick about Robin going to church alone. In one episode, Robin talks with her daughters about attending church and asks if she can go with them. Later, she tells Kody she'd like to attend church, and he asks when. Then, suddenly, he wants to come along, because apparently he can't let Robin attend church solo since she'd be an open market for any men there. Yes, you heard that right. Kody actually said that men at church would be after Robin because she'd make a good wife. My reaction? Robin, a hot commodity at church for any men wanting a wife. Please, Kody, your wife is neither hot nor desirable. Does he really believe church is a hunting ground for poaching other men's wives? That says a lot about his own mindset, and apparently the culture of their church. What kind of church encourages this attitude of treating women like possessions? The only group where wives can be reassigned to different husbands is LDS, and even then, it's typically controlled by the priesthood holders or, in some cases, by the wife's request. The whole concept is completely insane. Kody's story about their first meeting at church, where they locked eyes and felt lightning bolts, reveals their true purpose for attending church, not worship, but matchmaking. Naturally, he assumes everyone else is playing the same game. Now, imagine this. What if Robin actually found a man at church and entered polygamy again, with multiple husbands? The idea of Robin juggling several husbands, with Kody just one of them, would be poetic justice. Would Kody be the best customer in her harem? No way, head bolt. Competition is not his style. In their polygamy world, church is basically where you meet women. Dating outside the faith is forbidden, so the entire church is a closed-off marketplace. Robin said she wants to teach her daughters how to get their scent out there, basically preparing them to attract men. It all seems like a contrived storyline to stay relevant. They should just wrap it up and do occasional updates. Kody craves validation and wants to believe other men envy him. His comments are attention-seeking and blatantly misogynistic. Their culture treats women like property to be protected, not partners with agency. All the talk about loyalty is meaningless next to this possessiveness. Remember when one wife called out Robin's damsel in distress act, calling it ridiculous? Robin clearly controls Kody by playing into his insecurities. She's sly, social climbing polygamy royalty, coming from a prominent family and joining a TV famous one. Kody seems to be waking up to her true character but still can't fully trust her. Robin enjoys seeing Kody overwhelmed by her looks. It's a power move. No one really wants Robin, except maybe men looking for a homewrecker. Kody has to convince himself that having Robin was a prize, or else his fragile ego might crumble. He's estranged from his children and dealing with the tragic suicide of a son, but he seems unaware of how much damage he's done. Robin's daughters have been groomed perfectly to be dependent, subservient Mormon wives. They'll grow up asking permission for every decision. Kody's mistake was marrying more independent wives who left. With Robin, he found the obedient one, which explains his obsession. That ridiculous, "let me see that rock" moment was all showmanship. Kody acting like he owns Robin. If it's real, he should get that ring appraised because he might owe some people money soon. Back to church paranoia. Does Kody really think a man there will scoop her up? Robin's not exactly approachable, more like a frowning, hockey puck eyebrow model than a church flirt. This is classic controlling jealousy masked as concern. He doesn't trust her. Kody's delusion runs deep. He needs to believe other men want Robin because it feeds his ego. This is about control, insecurity, and a patriarchal view where women are possessions, not partners. Robin doesn't even seem offended by his lack of trust. She's probably flattered, using it to manipulate him by playing on his insecurities. It's a toxic dance. Ultimately, church for these two isn't about faith. It's about control, jealousy, and maintaining appearances. A hot mess wrapped in a polygamist soap opera. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.